Ever get that feeling, that like nagging sense,
Yeah.
that you're capable of way more, but, something's holding you back?
Oh, totally. Like you've hit a ceiling but can't even see what it's made of.
Exactly. So what happens when someone just decides to, like, smash through it? Well, that's what we're diving into today. The story of David Goggins.
A guy who just like obliterates his own limits and honestly makes you question what's even possible.
Right. And we're not just going to list off his crazy achievements. It's about figuring out how he did it and the principles behind it all, stuff you can actually use.
Exactly. We're breaking down a life story that honestly sounds made up if you just skimmed the highlights.
I mean, from a rough childhood to, like, Navy SEAL training and ultramarathons.
Yeah, it's like he's operating on a different level. Easy to think, oh, he's just built different.
But our goal here, to dig into his experiences, see what fueled that transformation.
And it all kind of comes back to this core question he had, right? What happens when you push past that lot comfortable, maybe even perceived 40% of your potential?
That's the thread we're pulling on today.
And it's a question that resonates, that feeling we're all working way below capacity. Goggins is like the extreme case study of that.
All right, so foundations first. David Goggins, born Buffalo, New York, 1975. And, well, his early life was tough.
Understatement, maybe. We're talking extreme poverty, physical and emotional abuse from his dad.
Just a constant struggle,
But the sources really emphasize this. Childhood marked by struggle, bullying in school, labeled fatso, failure.
Yeah, and major academic struggles. An environment where it'd be easy to just feel, like, trapped by those experiences.
Totally. Those labels, those circumstances becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy.
But here's what's crazy, and the sources hammer this home. These tough beginnings, they became the launch pad for his change, not his definition.
Huge distinction, especially if you're dealing with your own stuff, past or present.
It's that idea that where you start doesn't have to be where you end up.
It's agency, right? That human ability to choose, to change your path, no matter the starting point. And for Goggins, that turning point, well, 19 years old, he enlists in the U.S. Navy.
19 draws a line, says, nope, not going to be defined by this anymore. But the sources are clear. This wasn't some overnight thing.
No way. It was a total personal overhaul. Physically intense running, weightlifting.
And mentally cultivating discipline. Deliberate, hard work, not a quick fix.
The willpower involved in that shift, it's mind-blowing.
Totally. And it's during this hardcore self-improvement that Goggins hits on a key idea. That the human body, we only use like 40% of its real potential.
And it's fascinating, right? Not from some scientific study, but this internal conviction. He just felt there was so much more he could do.
Which, while not scientifically proven in the, like, lab coat sense,
Yeah.
it does line up with psychology stuff about self-efficacy.
Right. How much we think we can do often dictates what we actually achieve. Our own perceived limits become real limits.
Boom. And that lit a fire under Goggins. He's like, what if I push past that 40%? And that question, that's the fuel for everything that comes next.
It's about unlocking that potential that we probably all have.
And that drive to test boundaries, it leads him to, well, one of the most intense environments you can imagine, BUDS.
Basic underwater demolition SEAL training. And the sources don't sugarcoat it. Grueling. Tons of recruits quit, like, immediately.
It's designed to break you, physically, mentally. See who has the grit to make it.
So Goggins doesn't just join the Navy, he volunteers for this.
It highlights how dedicated he was to pushing those limits, not the easy route, but embracing the challenge.
Makes you think, what kind of drive makes someone seek out that level of hardship?
Seriously. And within that pressure cooker, beyond the obvious physical stuff, Goggins learned something crucial about obstacles.
He realizes the biggest enemy isn't the instructors, the lack of sleep, the brutal tasks.
It's that inner voice of doubt, that little voice saying, quit, give in.
And that's where the accountability mirror comes in. This, I think, is something everyone listening can use.
Totally. He recognized that voice was powerful, so he needed a way to fight back. Every morning, mirror. Complete ownership of his situation, his goals.
No excuses, no blaming anything outside himself. Just pure personal accountability.
And it's not just about saying your goals out loud. It's shifting your control inward. You own the failures, which means you can actually make changes.
It's like cognitive behavioral therapy, right? Recognizing and challenging that negative self-talk.
It's powerful stuff. Forces you to confront those limits you've set for yourself, those stories you tell yourself.
By taking ownership, you take away the excuses that stop us from even trying hard things.
And for Goggins, BDS wasn't the finish line. It was like a starting point for pushing even further.
He goes from SEAL to ultramarathons, which, let's be honest, sounds insane.
We're talking 100-mile races, sometimes more, often in crazy conditions.
Totally different kind of endurance, right? Not just tactical, team-based stuff, but this individual, extreme test of will.
And the sources give this example, him running 100 miles with 2 stress fractures in his foot.
Bonkers. The mental toughness, it's hard to even grasp. How do you push through that pain?
Seriously, mind-blowing, broken bones, and you keep going for that long. It shows his idea of limits is on another level.
And not just a one-time thing, right? He also had the world record for pull-ups in 24 hours, 4,030.
Imagine the strain, the pain doing your body weight over 4,000 times in a day.
Not just physical strength, but the mental resilience to endure that, what was going through his head.
It's like his why, that commitment to going past 40%, was just so strong it overrode everything else.
Makes you wonder about the mental strategies he used to ignore those pain signals.
So through all this insane training, these accomplishments, Goggins forms a philosophy. And the sources point this out as super relevant for everyone, no matter what you're trying to do.
He famously said, you don't have to be perfect to start, you just have to start to be perfect.
So good, right? It blows apart that idea that you need to have it all figured out before you even begin.
It's the cure for procrastination, for perfectionism. Growth comes from doing, from starting, and figuring it out as you go.
And part of that, according to Goggins, is actually seeking out discomfort.
He believes those breakthrough moments where we discover what we're truly capable of.
They happen when we leave our comfort zones, face our fears head on.
It's in those tough, uncomfortable spots that we learn what we can actually handle.
Exactly. Which ties back to the 40% rule, right? Our comfort zone is way within that.
To grow, we got to find those challenges that push us past what feels easy.
And the sources also talk about how vital it is to have a strong why, your purpose.
Goggins says hard work, enduring pain, it's not enough. You need a deeper reason, something that drives you when you want to quit.
So I'm asking you listening, what's your why? What are those values, those goals that really matter to you?
It's a powerful question to consider. When things get rough, that why can be what keeps you going.
So zooming out on Goggins' whole journey, the theme that keeps popping up is challenge those limits, his own, and by extension, ours.
And that brings it back to you. What are those limits you believe you have, big or small?
The things that feel out of reach, maybe even impossible.
Because the sources emphasize this. Goggins wasn't born special. He didn't have some easy path.
Every single day, he chose to push himself, to be better, to go beyond what was comfortable.
And it shows that amazing things often come from consistent effort and refusing to accept those limits we set for ourselves.
And that's the challenge he throws down for all of us. Not to become Navy SEALs or run ultramarathons.
It's about taking action in your own life, facing those fears, those doubts that say you can't.
Fighting back against that voice that limits you in whatever area it's holding you back.
The real takeaway is that mindset of constant self-improvement, that commitment to pushing your own boundaries, whatever they are.
Right, and the sources capture this perfectly, summing up Goggins' journey. If you want something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done.
That willingness to step outside your routine, your comfort zone, to get somewhere new.
And it leaves us with this final thought from the source material. Your limit is just an illusion.
Something powerful to think about. What illusions are you holding on to?
That is something to ponder as we wrap up our deep dive today.
Until next time.
See ya.